So today we are going to start our addition unit for math. I know we've done a little bit of a review already in Edgenuity, but we're just going to kind of keep going with that. So today our objective is I can count on and back by ones, tens, and hundreds. So let's go ahead and start in the hundreds place. So we're going to start with the number 498, and we're going to practice counting on by ones. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to build this number 498. And I know some of you can probably count on in your head by ones to figure out the next numbers, but I'm going to show you if that becomes too difficult to do in your head, some strategies for how to do that. And it will have to do with building the number and then adding on or drawing in your next place value blocks in order to build the next number. So if we start with the number 498, if I'm counting on by ones, I'm going to add a ones base 10 block into my ones column. And so then we can see that my ones change to 9 ones. So after 498, my next number is 499. So let's keep going. Let's add another one. Here's my next ones block. But now I have a problem because now I have the number 490. 10? That doesn't work, does it? I know that if I have 10 ones, I can't have all of those 10 ones in the ones place value. So instead, what I have to do is I have to take these 10 ones and turn it into a 10. So now you'll see I don't have any ones left. But now my problem is that I have 10 tens. Can I have 10 tens? No, I can't. So instead, I know that these 10 tens can turn into 100. So now I don't have any tens left, and I instead take my 10 tens and I change it into 100. So when I added 1, my next number is actually 500. So I went from 498, 499, 500. Now if I add in another one, I go up to 501. And now I could keep adding ones. So I would go from 498, 499, 500, 501, and so on. So when I look at my pattern in numbers, you can see that because I'm counting on by ones, my ones place value is the one that is changing. So 498, 499, except when I get to 9 and a place value, I know that then I have to rearrange some of the other numbers because I can't have 10 ones, I can't have 10 tens. So from 499, I jump up to 500. But now if we continue looking at our ones, it's starting to follow our pattern again. So 500, 501, 502, 503. Let's try another one. This one I want you to try. So you're going to start with the number 698. And just for this one, I want you to go ahead and practice drawing it out in your hundreds, tens, and ones chart just so you can get the hang of it. Even if you can do it mentally in your head, let's just draw out this one so that you get practice with doing it. So you're going to start by drawing out the number 698. Remember, for hundreds, we draw squares. For tens, we draw straight lines. And for ones, we draw little dots. So go ahead and draw 698. If you need more time, go ahead and pause the video and then you can start playing again when you're ready. Now let's go ahead and add in your 1. So when you added in your 1, our next number became 699. Go ahead and add in another 1. Uh-oh, we ran into our problem with having 10 ones, didn't we? So when we do this in your drawing, what I do is I just circle my 10 ones, draw an arrow, and add in my 110. But I don't erase these ones. I just circle them to show that they've moved. And you'll do the same thing with the tens. Once you have your 10 tens, circle all 10 tens and draw an arrow to show that you're going to need another 100, because after 699, our next number would be 700. So in your tens and ones, you'll still have your tens and your ones drawn, but you'll have them all circled with an arrow to show that they're moving place values. All right, and then from there you can keep adding in more ones to keep counting on by ones. So when we started with 698, we are adding on to our ones, so 699. Then we had to change around some place values, so then we went to 700. Now we can just keep adding ones, so 701, 702, 703. All right, now you're going to watch me do a couple, and then you'll do a couple more. So now we're going to count back by ones. So we're going to make our number smaller. So let's start with the number 502. I'm going to build the number 502, and now when I'm counting back by ones, I'm going to take away one of my ones blocks. So the first time when I do this, I'm left with the number 501. Let's take away another ones block. I'm left with 500. So I went from 502, 501, 500. Now I need to take away another 1. But do I have any ones here? I don't. So I could go next door and borrow a 10 to get 10 ones, but I don't have any 10s either, do I? So I have to go all the way over to the hundreds. I'm going to borrow one of my hundreds. And I have to go just right next door. I can't skip all the way to the ones. So my 100 I know is worth 10 tens. So I'm going to put in my 10 tens for my 100. But I still need ones because I'm counting back by ones. So now I'm going to take one of my tens. I know that my 110 equals 10 ones. So notice my 10 is gone, and now I have 10 ones. Now I can take away one of those ones. So I'm left with 9 ones, I'm left with 9 tens, and I'm left with 4 hundreds. So when I'm counting back by ones, I went from 502, 501, 500, 499, and then if I wanted to keep going, I can take away another one, and it would leave me with 498. So here's our number sequence: 502, 501, 500, 499, 498, 497. Notice our ones place, we go 2, 1, 0. And then when I go back to 9, I have to change my tens and my hundreds. 9, 8, 7, 6 would come next, so it would be 496. All right, now it's your turn. Again, this time you're going to practice counting back by ones starting at 702. And if you want, you can use our 100 tens and ones chart just like this and draw it and start taking away those ones. Or if you want and you just want to write our number sequence, you can just write our number sequence, whatever is easier for you. So try counting back by ones, so taking away the ones. All right, when you were doing it, did you start with 702, then move to 701, 700? Remember, I'm at 0, so I'm going to have to change around my tens and my hundreds. 699, 698, 697. All right, now we're going to practice counting on by tens. So when we're counting on, we're making the number bigger. We're adding in tens. So let's start by drawing out the number 275. This time I'm going to add tens, so they're going to go on my tens spot. As we're adding tens, notice what happens with the ones. Does anything happen to them, or do they stay the same? Start by adding 1 10 in. Now I have 8 tens, so my number is 285. My ones stayed the same. Let's add another 10. 295. Let's add another 10. Uh-oh, I'm at 10 tens. Can I have the number 210? 5? I can't. So what happens to these 10 tens? These 10 tens have to become 100. So now I'm still left with my 5 ones. I don't have any tens, but now I have 3 hundreds. So when I'm counting on by tens, I started at 275, 285, 295, 305. Let's add in another 10. Now I'm at 315. So let's look at our number sequence. Now you'll notice that I have the tens highlighted because I'm counting on by tens. So watch for the pattern in the tens place. 275, 285, 295, 305, 315, 325. So notice my tens, 7, 8, 9, 0, so I had to change my hundreds. 1, 2, and I'd keep going. Now let's try counting backwards by tens. So when I'm doing this, my number is becoming smaller. So if I build the number 325, I'm counting back by tens. So this time I'm going to take away my tens. So when I take away the first one, I'm left with 315. I take away another one, I have 305. But now do I have any tens to take away? I don't. So I have to go next door. I know that my 100 becomes 10 tens, and now I have a 10 that I could take away. So now I'm left with 9 tens and 2 hundreds. Notice my ones stayed the same the entire time. So I started with the number 325, then 315, then 305, then 295. And now I have enough tens, I can just keep taking away tens. 285, and so on. So let's watch our pattern in our number sequence. 325, 315, 305, 295, 285, 275. Look at the pattern in the tens. Notice that our ones stay the same all the way through. All right, your turn. You're going to try 485. You can decide if you want to do it by drawing it out in the hundreds, tens, and ones chart, or just writing the number sequence, whatever works better for you. Pause the video and take a minute to find your answer, and then we're going to check your answer. All right, did you get your number sequence down? Did you either draw it in your hundreds, tens, and ones chart, or just write it as a number sequence? Let's check your answer. Did you get 485, 495, 505, 515, 525, 535? Hopefully. Next, we're going to count on by hundreds. So now we're going to start with the number 238. And if we're counting on by hundreds, I'm going to add my hundreds into the hundreds place value. So when I add my first one, my number becomes 338, 438. Notice how my tens and my ones are staying the same. I'm just adding my hundreds in. So my number sequence, it would be 238, 338, 438, 538. Do you notice the hundreds are the ones that's changing? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then my tens and my ones stay the same through all my numbers. Now I want you to try 732, but this time you're going to count back by 100s. So your number is going to get smaller. You can decide, do you want to do it on your hundreds, tens, and ones chart, or would you just like to write out the number sequence? Go ahead and pause the video and try it on your own, and then we'll check your answer. All right, let's check. Did you have 732, 632, 532, 432, 332, 232? Hopefully you got that number sequence. All right, now it's time for your independent practice. There will be a short quiz on Edgenuity. It is just 6 questions. So the first one, and yours may be in a different order, but it says, what number is 100 less than 606? So remember, when it's going less, you're making the number smaller. In this one, it says 100, so you're looking in the hundreds place value. This one, it's complete the number pattern. So you're going to look to see 932, 832, 732. So look to see which place value is changing. Is your ones changing? No. Are your tens changing? No. So that must mean your hundreds are changing. So on these quiz questions, you might have to first look to see what's changing, because it doesn't tell you if it's counting on or back by ones, tens, or hundreds. So first, you might have to determine that, and then you have to fill in the missing number. You can do this just by doing it mentally in your head, or if you need to draw up the hundreds, tens, and ones chart, feel free to do that. That might help you recognize some of the different patterns so that you know if it's counting on or counting back, and if it's doing it by ones, tens, or hundreds.